Not if I had a choice. I mean, I would do it again in terms of the implementation and the smoothness of the implementation. It really was fine from the technical perspective. The part that was missed, and I think it's a critical part, is the buy-in from faculty. Anyone who is with an institution, you know how critical that is. And you know, and I don't know that you can put a price on that, to be honest. So I think that that's a piece that if I had it to do over again and had the choice, I would have spent a lot more energy doing that part, which is why I recommend that you know, that you do a lot of that up front, and then when you have your implementation that you do run both systems for at least one term, because I think that that would really help that process significantly.
Good. Someone had one of the questions, which was, what was the number of faculty you were converted? I know, of course, it was everyone, but what roughly is the number of faculty, and I guess for that matter, students as well at Redwoods?
Right. So we have about 100 full-time faculty and about 400 adjunct faculty. So, you know, we're talking about 500 people altogether. And students, as I said in the beginning, we have about 8,000 unduplicated, 8,400, somewhere in that ballpark.
Let me ask you a quick question. Having also myself been an adjunct faculty in community colleges, how did you deal with the fact that, you know, you have a lot of adjunct faculty, probably very geographically dispersed, and don't actually get to meet? How is that part of the implementation? How did you deal with that?
Well, two ways. I mean, one of the beauties of Sakai is, you know, we could actually use the system to train them. So we put together an orientation course, and we actually use the same orientation course for our students now. It's 2 weeks. It's facilitated by one of my instructional designers, and it walks them through the tools. It talks about how the online environment goes. It talks about the different ways in which to approach using content, and so that's made a really big difference. The other piece is that we're very fortunate in the state of California because the Chancellor's Office has purchased an Illuminate instance for all 110 community colleges. And so that's a webinar type thing, similar to what we're doing, although it is two-way voice. And we often use that for training, for troubleshooting, for reaching out to faculty who aren't on this particular campus in Eureka, and just making sure that we can help them on an individual basis.
That's good. And actually that's something that's not on this slide, but I'll mention that one of the values that ArtSmart brings is that we often build integrations or connectors for other products. So we actually built the integration to Sakai for Illuminate, and it's out there in the community, and we do other ones because often our clients want particular things that may not be at the top of the priority list for programming for the community, and we do those for you, and then those go into the pot. So it's another instance in which that kind of model works really well. Maggie, what's my next slide? I think I have one more. Right. Okay. Well, the first thing I'll say is that I want to talk about something else on the slide at the moment here. Evaluating Sakai. We have a free online instance at mysakai.rsmart.com, mysakai, and you can go and test it out and drive it for yourself, and you can drive it as long as you want as well. So people are always asking, you know, if it's open source, do I have to download it, install it, and get a server and go to some IT guys? The answer is no. You can just go to our site and you can kick the tires all you want. We also have an entire full team who help implementation. Part of the Sakai community model is that essentially the software is really good, so ArtSmart fills that gap of getting you over the implementation hump. So we have an entire team that come in and help configure it, that will do an evaluation of your migration assessment needs and what you're going to need. So if you're moving from, and we have experience in moving from Blackboard, the Classic Enterprise, WebCT, Angel, and others. Yeah, eCollege, yes, that's right. There's quite a number out there. I mean, not that many, but So we don't do the migration for you. We're not a consulting house in that sense. But we can do the assessment, and we can bring, there are a whole bunch of tools out in the community to deal with the different versions people have built, and we have our hands on all of those, and we've actually built a couple of them ourselves. For instance, at the moment, we're focusing on helping some new clients who've joined us move from Angel over to Sakai. One person had a question which is related to this slide I asked, and I'm going to have to go back and look at this. You know, you're talking about moving from Blackboard. Well, what about Moodle? And the answer to that is I personally spent a long time in the Moodle community, and I would be happy to talk to anybody about the comparison of Moodle and Sakai. I think the answer is the very last thing down on this slide, although it's not quite worded the way I want, which is the Sakai community is highly oriented towards this participatory model, which is very strategic. Where are we going pedagogically? How are we, you know, there's a very active group in Sakai, as Maggie mentioned. You know, it has the very active pedagogical group which guides the development of Sakai. It's not programmers making tools. It's people representing instructional designers and faculty and teachers. We're saying, here are the tools we need. You guys need to program into this model and get us working. And sort of like active pedagogy and active tools, more social tools, more media-oriented tools are all there. And there's a very strong path from Sakai 2 to the new version of Sakai 3, which is coming down the road. And a very, very strong emphasis on building a good bridge. There's not going to be this drop-dead, horrible conversion you're going from Sakai into the future, but a step-by-step way of being able for you to control exactly what tools go on and how they go on. So that's something which is very important. Someone asked, well, what was that website again? Okay, for kicking the tires. Sakai, rsmart.com. I'll send that out to everybody there. I would like to say more, and I'm sure Maggie would too, but I think we're running out of time here, and I think we have one last piece of business to do. If I can find my person who can do that one last piece of business. Megan, where are you? We have a survey or a poll. There she is. What's that?
It's when they leave.
What? It's when they leave. Oh, I'm mistaken. You'll get it when you leave. Okay, there's one last piece of business. When you do leave, go to meeting your day. There will be a little survey which comes up, and I'm not sure exactly what's on it, but it's your kind of way of saying, please do not bother me again. I do not want to hear anything more about this. Otherwise, of course, you might want to hear from us, and that would be very good. Those are all the, that's all the time we have things for you. Any last words, Maggie?
No, not from me. You know, I would say if people want to contact me directly, I'm very open to that, and that is maggie-lynch@redwoods.edu. And I'd be happy to answer questions or share more about our experience.
Okay. Maggie, I think there's some contact info on that last slide. If you slide over past all of our customer lists, which is
there you go.
Actually, there's Maggie. Hey, we got that one good there. There's Maggie's information, and there's also mine. And there are a couple questions here that weren't answered, and if you send that email to me, I will make sure that the talented crew at RSmart, and they are very talented, gets back to you. Okay.